Wow. Oh my God. Wow. You guys are lucky that I'm here today doing this show at all because I about had a heart attack and died. First off, let me sit you at the backstory. Welcome to Coffee Break Tennis. If you're new to the show, I'm sorry because this is a little different than how we usually start it. It's a very special occasion today, right? Right. I go to bed really late because I can't take my eyes off the Sandgren-Chung match because I'm watching it. Yeah, Chung looks pretty good, but what I'm seeing is Sandgren, he's got a pretty big forehand. Like, that's his biggest weapon. And Roger, obviously, better forehand for sure. But Sandgren, I know he lost that match, but there were times where it looked like maybe he could start playing amazing and take over that match. Of course, he didn't. But he would use his forehand to set himself up to come into net and put away some very nice, a lot of forehand volleys we saw him hitting. So if you saw that out there, you know that was successful. I hope Federer's coaches, Ljubicic, Sev out there, I hope they saw that match because there's the game plan. There are ways, and there's other things too, but that's one. Federer will be able to use that forehand to set up a lot of easy points to close Mr. Chung out. Because if you play great defense like Chung and you get every ball back, and you can slide on the hard court to get another defensive shot back, it doesn't matter if the guy's at the net and has a good volley, you will not get to touch the ball again. So, sorry if you're new to the show, because normally we don't start it off like this. This is a special occasion, like I said. Let's talk about Federer and Berdych. Let me tell you what happened. So I go to bed at like 11 p.m. here, and I'm thinking, oh my God, Matt, you're going to sleep 6 hours if you wake up at 5, so let's change the game plan to waking up at 6. And then I'm laying there, and an hour goes by, and I can't sleep. All I can think about is the match. And I'm like, all right, let's wake up at 6:30. Then eventually it's just like, okay, I'm going to wake up at 7. That'll give me 4 hours to make the show and watch the whole match. So long story short, I can't sleep. I eventually go to sleep. I think I got like 5 hours of sleep because it took me forever to fall asleep because I was so freaking nervous thinking about this match. And then, flash it up on the screen. All right, so you see this on the screen. This is what it looks like on an iPhone, because I love Apple products. On an iPhone, when you've got the multiple windows open, and I had my Twitter up from yesterday still. So see what the Twitter says? So I'm just trying to close Twitter very quickly so that no one spoils it for me, because I'm so nervous. Like, I know if I find out Roger lost, I'm not going to be able to sit there and watch that whole match and make this video very effectively. It's going to be really difficult for me to get through that. So I'm like, I need to see how it happens if he did, in fact, lose. So I see a post from the official Australian Open account on Twitter that says Australian Horror Story. I did not see the beer icon because I saw, this is out of the corner of my eye. I see it and I'm like, oh my God. And I swipe it up and get rid of it really fast. And I think, Horror Story? Why would the official Australian Open account write Australian Horror Story? That only could mean that Federer lost. And I could tell there was a shot of the crowd. I couldn't tell it was a lady spilling her beer, because that's what the picture is. That's the Australian Open Horror Story. You buy a beer and you go to sit down and you spill it. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Federer losing is a million times worse. So I sit down and start watching the DVR recording of the match. In the back of my mind, in the front of my mind, thinking, did Roger lose? Why would they? And I even did think, well, maybe it was just somebody, something embarrassing happened in the crowd, because it was a picture of the crowd. It wasn't a picture of Federer, like that. Usually they show pictures of the players looking very depressed when they get upset. So I thought maybe it was something else. I hope. Anyways, I'm thinking Roger lost, especially after the way Roger starts, right? The way Roger starts. This is the worst thing possible for me to see that tweet and only see a little bit of it, not see all of its context. And then Roger starts playing the way he's playing. If you didn't see the match, Roger is playing the worst that he's played all tournament long for the first 5-6 games of the first set against Berdych. And Berdych looks really solid. Everyone's been talking, Berdych looks so good. Well, some people, I wouldn't blame you for saying, oh my God, Berdych looks amazing. Trust me, Berdych was very solid. He could have played better to guarantee, because he should have won this set. If he would have played better when he served for it, he could have hit 3 aces. That's what we saw, that time Cilic beat Roger at the U.S. Open when everyone said, Djokovic is out, Roger's going to win. I think Roger having that experience in the past helps him. All right, I'm rambling a little. So that's how my day started. I'm watching the first set, feeling sick, like I'm going to throw up, thinking Roger's going to lose. I saw the tweet from the Australian Open, and so yeah. Anyways, I was so excited about this match, and this show is all over the place. I'm not following my format at all. I'm just going crazy on this show today. So I'm going to play a song for you guys. Put it up on the screen. I used this Tupac thumbnail yesterday because, fun fact about me, I love Tupac. In high school, Tupac was my favorite. In middle school, it was all about Jimi Hendrix. In high school, it was all about Tupac for 9th and 10th grade. And then I moved on to some, I think I started getting to the Led Zeppelin after that. Of course, I still love Tupac, and the title track from that album, double disc, 2-disc album, All Eyes on Me, great album. Title track, All Eyes on Me, really cool song. I rewrote it for Fed heads. So if you'll indulge me, if you're new to the show, last year I did a couple songs. I do songs when Roger has big wins because I get so excited, I can only express myself through music. So here's the song. So I'm just going to play the guitar and loop it. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. All eyes on Fed. I bet you got it twisted, you don't know the trust. So many player hating trolls trying to depress us. They say Roger will lose, but still we refuse. Roger's getting 20, yeah, you already knew. I live the life of a tennis player until the day I die. Try to pass me, get crossed over, the future's in my eye. Cause all I know is volleys and serves. 100-mile-an-hour slider, birdie, watch it swerve. My slam record is obscene. Players who'd think that they could catch it, they be living a dream. Merca's in the box, feeling nervousness. Now watch this drop a bounce twice, can you handle it? Come on! All eyes on Fed. All eyes on Fed, that's for sure. Thanks for listening to my song. I think the first song I did was Thank You, Mr. Wimbledon. Some of you will remember that from last year, from when I saw the Wimbledon draw. I was so happy because I knew Federer could win it. When I saw that draw, I knew Federer was going to win for sure. And I made a song about it. At the end of this, at the end screen, I'll put a link to that old video. It's on Crunch Time Coaching, where Coffee Break Tennis all started. So, Birdman really should have won that first set, but it's not like he choked it away. Birdman played solid the entire first set. Roger elevated his level. And I know some player-hating trolls out there might say, no, Berdych choked, Roger got so lucky. Well, Darren Cahill, why did I make that sound like oh my God, sound like that kind of voice? That doesn't work there. Anyways, Darren Cahill talked about very interesting stats in the broadcast, and I took a picture of it with my phone. So put that up on the screen. So the first 1 through 9 games, so I said the first 6 games, but it's first 1 through 9 games. So the secret to Roger's success, especially as he gets older, and he's done it throughout his career, but it's so important now because he can't waste energy playing too much defense to win a match, getting inside the court to hit balls, because it doesn't matter how hard you hit it. If you hit it fairly hard, and look at these 3 right here that are 6 feet inside, there's 4 of them actually. They're a little beyond 6 feet inside the baseline. If you hit that ball 50 miles an hour from 6 feet inside the baseline, to your opponent, it feels like it's 200 miles an hour. So notice behind the baseline where Roger doesn't want to play, like that's just like Roger just wants to hit balls there to stay alive. That's where Roger wants to hit it deep enough to not get attacked and have a chance, hoping that the next ball from Berdych in this case, whoever the opponent is one that he can move maybe 6 feet inside the baseline to hit at whatever speed. It will be like doubled or tripled based off of where it's coming from because you're robbed of time, you're rushed. So Roger's 65% behind the baseline. And then this is why I say Roger took charge, because set number 1, games 11 through 13, all of a sudden Roger is taking 51. So more than double the aggressive balls he manages to play in games 1 through 9. And most of those 25% games through 1 through 9 is probably after he hit a good serve and got a short ball from Berdych because he's very nervous. Yeah, like I told you guys, Roger's going to be nervous. If you didn't believe me, he gets in an argument with the umpire and says, "You already screwed me over twice." I don't know if I can do the Roger voice today. Anyways, that's kind of close. "You screwed me over twice." All right, that's enough. So Roger says, "You already screwed me over twice. Shouldn't I get that challenge back?" He was clearly really nervous going into this match and really upset about how he was handling his nerves, playing so poorly in the beginning. So 51%, more than double his aggressive shots inside the court, and that 65 becomes 43. And the 10%, which is that number is bigger because when you're playing most of your balls in the 65% area, Birdman's going to hit more balls that you have no choice but to play from the 10% area, which is more than 6 feet behind the baseline. Not where you want to be unless you're Rafa on clay. So my point there is Darren Cahill, very nice there. Thanks for showing that to us, Darren Cahill, because right there, that's all the proof you need to know that Roger stepped up his level, and he's the one who took charge. He didn't get lucky. Birdman didn't choke it out. Birdman could have popped some aces. That's the one thing I'll say. If Birdman could have just hit 3 aces in that final game in the set, well, not final, obviously, but it would have been the final game of the set when he served for the set. If Birdman could have popped 3 aces in that game, I think he holds. But what was it that really happened? What really happened was what I've been talking about all along, what I knew would be so key, because it was the backhand up the line that saved Roger on set point. Berdych served, set point, Roger hits the backhand up the line, clean winner. Then Roger hits another backhand up the line. I don't remember if that was the very next point or what, if that got him to advantage, break point. But the point is, the backhand up the line saved Roger in that game. So for some of you who are wondering, why is the backhand up the line so important? It's not so much just that shot, but it's more about, like, for example, Dimitrov was struggling just to get his backhand consistently in. Going cross court, going up the line, didn't matter. And you got to have your rally ball on the backhand side too. You got to be able to stay alive. But Roger will try to hit a lot of inside-out forehands and cross-court backhands. That's what he typically does. And the shot is so good, you have to defend your backhand side, because Roger's going to a righty. He's going to a backhand with his backhand. Get my racket. He's hitting his backhand, and it's going to your backhand if you're a righty. And he's hitting a lot of inside-out forehands too, which really, those do a lot of damage when he really cracks one of those at your backhand side. So you have to kind of lean to your left as a righty, knowing that when you go to that part of the court, you go to Roger's backhand wing of the court, you know that there's a good chance a very tough biting slice cross court, or a nice powerful topspin backhand, or scariest of all for most, a very well struck inside-out forehand, sometimes a winner, very fast, coming to your backhand angle. You got to be moving to set up to take that ball so you don't just fluff it there. You can easily miss that if Roger hits it solid enough. So when Roger hits the backhand up the line, and you're always leaning a little bit to your left, knowing that most likely you'll see inside-out forehand or backhand cross court, there's no way to defend it. There's nothing you can do. So it's just so deflating for Roger to hit that shot when you know he's likely not to hit it. Because in the past, he would hit it, but not aggressively enough. You have time to get there and keep it in play, stay alive in the rally. But when Roger hits it aggressively, it's a clean winner if you're leaning to your left even a tiny bit. And that was so key for Roger to win that first set. So let's look at the stats from the match, and then I'm going to tell you guys some exciting news. I got to share something very special with you, so I'll save that for the end of the video. And yeah, let's look at the stats, and then we'll get out of here because I'm already running late again. But I had to when I saw Federer was going to win, after feeling like I was going to throw up for the first 30 minutes of watching the match, thinking he lost because of the Twitter thing, I just had to make a song for you guys because I get so excited, I get so happy, and I'm feeling very good about Federer's chances for the rest of the tournament. So let's look at the stats from the first set first. So Roger's first serve, it was, we know it wasn't working perfectly because he double faulted 4 times, but 7 aces, even with Roger struggling, 89% win on first, 65% in. That win on first serve number went up later in the set as he started making the serve work better because he was missing a lot. Early in the set, I bet that 65 was like a 35 at some point. And the win on second serve for Roger, 33%. That was, that was bad, and that was even worse earlier in the set. All right, so now let's look at the whole match. And Berdych's win on second serve, 51%. That went up. Remember, I pointed out that he had some matches like in the 30s that was dangerous. But he got it higher, but like I said, Roger's going to be able to get his 3 breaks, and this time he's able to get 4 breaks, 50% break point conversion from Roger. I think getting so upset and, the way the emotions of that first match went for Roger, it kind of set him on fire. So he ended up playing amazing. 61 winners. Jeez. 15 aces on 5 doubles. First serve in 63. Win on first serve 83%. Roger's got it going. And if he can just produce that kind of play, he will win the tournament without dropping a set. By the way, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Give us a nice overhead smash on the thumbs up and a nice little touch volley on the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the fastest growing tennis talk show in the world yet. Let me just say one last thing. I know some of you out there think Chung is like Turbo Djokovic. Look, he reminds me of Djokovic, but I'm not saying he is Djokovic because nobody's Djokovic until you win a bunch of Grand Slams. So give Djokovic his credit. He's a great player. He's a legend of the game. Roger just happens to be a much bigger legend, in my humble opinion. So big news. I talked about it a little bit. I said I had a meeting. So coffee break tennis, it takes a lot of time. It's a lot of work. I won't even lie. I think I've already put 100 hours of work into the videos I've made for the Australian Open. I mean, I've never worked this hard in my life. It's been insane, but I love it, and it's been fun, and I love you guys out there. I love reading your comments. I love when you comment below that this show brings joy in your life. That really is. It means a lot to me. It's one of the most touching things I've ever felt in my life. And also, I love how the audience is international. It's people from all over the world. My whole life, I've always been fascinated by history and by world geography, just the idea of traveling the world and experiencing different cultures, which is part of why I love Roger Federer, because apparently he loves traveling the world and experiencing different cultures as well. So with that said, I have heard people say things like, oh, you should do a, what is that thing called? A Patreon or a GoFundMe. And, I kind of thought about it for a little bit. I was like, well, I really need a new MacBook if I'm going to keep doing this show, because the old one has taken forever to export videos, and it's just making this already very difficult job much, much more difficult. And I thought, like, maybe I could do a Patreon or whatever those things are. I don't know how they work exactly. But basically, you ask people for money. I thought, well, maybe I could say, hey, if you help me buy my MacBook, I'll make the show better. And I thought, I'm not comfortable asking the audience for money, and that's not something I would ever do. And if you do that, if you're watching and you have a YouTube channel or something on the internet, and you have Patreon and that works, that's great for you. I know some people out there might listen to the tennis podcast. I try to listen to it whenever I can. I think it's a very good show. I think this show's better. But I enjoy the tennis podcast, and I know they do the Patreon thing, and that works for them, and that's how they're able to feed themselves and make it while they do the thing. So that's great. So let's talk about what I want to do. I don't want to ask you guys for money. So I want to do sponsors with brands. Like, my dream sponsor is to get my favorite coffee and say, I won't tell you the name, but I'll say, my favorite coffee, Coffee Break Tennis is brought to you by Matt's favorite coffee. Good. I put it in my big cup, and I even put it in my little cups too. So good. Always sweet, never bitter. If you're going to pick up a bag of coffee today, pick up Matt's favorite coffee. Get the point? So that's the way I can make this my job, my full-time job. I can afford to travel to Miami and Indian Wells and places like that, so I can, they gave me a press pass to Cincinnati. I hope they're going to keep giving me press passes to all the big tournaments. And, maybe if the show does well enough and I'm able to get enough sponsors, maybe I'll be at the Australian Open next year and won't have to do this very wacky sleep schedule I've been trying to keep up with. So just wanted to tell you guys up front, because, like I said, I love you guys out there, and you're helping me live my dream by making a living. I'm not doing it yet. I haven't seen $1 yet, but there may be some dollars coming soon from sponsorship deals. So I want to know what you guys think about that. Comment below if you think of any brands that would be a great fit. One thing I promised you, I'm not going to just have sponsors with like anyone just because they offer me money. Like, I'm not going to totally sell out like that. Like, I have to believe in what the company offers. Like, I have to think, like, I know it's not going to be for everyone. If I get a sponsor, 100% of the audience, it won't apply to them. But I promise the spots that I do, I'll just talk about them. It's not going to be like commercials. And another thing, I'm never going to use YouTube ads, because that would only earn me like $5 a video anyways. You got to have millions of views, so that's not really a viable option for Coffee Break Tennis, because there's not enough tennis fans in the world to help get me making a living off of YouTube ads. So you won't have to watch YouTube ads when you watch Coffee Break Tennis. You'll just have to listen to me talk for 10-15 seconds at a time about a sponsor, much like the way I always talk about Crunch Time Coaching. That was part of why I started doing that, because I thought, if I ever am able to do something like this, I want my audience to be used to hearing a little 15-second commercial in the show. So I hope you out there, if you love the show, I hope no one's disappointed by this. Like I said, it will enable me to be able to make a living doing this and live my dream. And I owe it entirely to you. So look out. There will be sponsors coming. Hopefully it goes very well and I don't have to work my other jobs so frantically. Right now I work. Sometimes people comment below, what do you do, Matt? Well, honestly, I have like 4 different jobs. It's pretty wild. It's really hard to get the time to do this show, but it's worth it. I love it, and I would love to not work 4 different jobs anymore. I'd love to have this job and teaching the kids tennis on the court with Pete. That's been the most rewarding experience of my life, teaching the kids tennis. Some of them are like 5, 6 years old, all the way up to, 17-year-olds in high school who are trying to get scholarships or play college tennis, stuff like that. That's a really important part of my life. Plus, I need to be on the court and hit tennis balls. So this job, plus teaching tennis, Crunch Time Coaching, of course. Also, Crunch Time Coaching will be having some sponsorships, it looks like, too. And that's really going to enable me and Pete to put more energy into making the best content to help players out there who want. So check out our sponsor, by the way. I'll put that up on the screen. Subscribe to Crunch Time Coaching. I will put some coffee break tennis videos there, of course. Thank you so much for watching. Comment below what you think of this match. Comment below how terrified you were in the first set. And you don't have to, but if you want to comment on the sponsorship thing, I'm very curious to hear what people think. Like I said, it's a win-win because it enables me to devote all my energy to making Coffee Break Tennis the best tennis show in the world. I'll say it one more time. I love you guys. Thank you so much for helping me make dreams come true. This is, I'll be honest with you, my first dream was to play tennis on the ATP Tour, even though I started playing when I was 18. I didn't even get anywhere close to being a decent tennis player until I was like 23 because I was trying to teach myself, and that didn't go very well. And I looked at guys like Agassi retiring at 36, and I thought, if I can just get good enough to maybe like qualify for Wimbledon and lose in the first round, I'll be famous enough to where I could get hired to talk about tennis on TV, and that's my real goal. So I always thought like maybe I could just practice really hard at tennis, and by the time I'm in my mid-30s, I'll be good enough to qualify for Wimbledon, and it'll be such a shocking story that this guy who started when he was 18 is in Wimbledon losing first round, that people will know my name and I'll be able to get hired by Tennis Channel or something like that. That was my dream, and I think it worked out better this way because I like being in total control of Coffee Break Tennis. I think you guys like it too. I think that's what makes this show so unique. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow when we find out who may be playing Chung or Federer in the final. Who do you think it'll be? As I said in the very first Coffee Break Tennis show, that's good. That's good.